Greenland and the return of empire politics. Venezuela frees at least 104 political prisoners, NGO. Military intervention in Iran not the preferred option. Greenland, Denmark set aside troubled history to face down Trump. Spain will not join Trump's Board of Peace, PM says. The international system established after World War II is based on a core principle. Countries must not use force or threats to seize territory. This rule is enshrined in the United Nations Charter, which was designed to make territorial conquest illegal. Later UN declarations reinforce that national borders cannot be changed through coercion. When major powers suggest that sovereignty is open to negotiation, it sends a serious warning to smaller states. In early January, U.S. President Donald Trump renewed his call for the United States to take control of Greenland. On January 10th, he said the U.S. would proceed, quote, whether they like it or not, end quote, adding it could happen, quote, the easy way or the hard way, end quote. The remarks were widely seen as a threat rather than a negotiation. At the World Economic Forum in Davos on January 21st, Trump appeared to soften his position. He said the U.S. would not use force and spoke of a possible framework for cooperation on Greenland and Arctic security, discussed with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Denmark's prime minister responded by saying Arctic security talks are possible, but only with full respect for Denmark's territorial integrity. Greenlandic lawmaker Aya Chemnitz-Lori also emphasized that no agreement can be made without Greenland's involvement. Reports suggest the discussions focus not on transferring sovereignty, but on updating existing defense agreements, expanding Arctic security cooperation, and working together on natural resources. However, confusion remains. Since Davos, Trump has claimed the framework would give the U.S., quote, total access to Greenland, end quote, while Denmark and Greenland continue to insist that sovereignty is not negotiable. Denmark and NATO are now considering broader efforts to strengthen Arctic security, including possible revisions to a 1951 agreement governing U.S. military presence in Greenland. Analysts say any new arrangement should be negotiated transparently, include Greenland's government, and clearly reaffirm sovereignty while defining defense roles, basing rights, and funding. Venezuela has released at least 104 political prisoners across the country, according to human rights organization Foro Penal. The group said it verified the releases on Sunday and is still confirming identities, meaning the number could rise. Foro Penal's director, Alfredo Romero, said the initial releases occurred early in the day, and Foro Penal attorney Gonzalo Jimiob noted that verification is ongoing. The releases come amid a broader but slow-moving effort by Venezuela's interim government under Delcy Rodriguez to free detainees held on political grounds. Rodriguez assumed leadership after leftist former president Nicolás Maduro was captured by U.S. forces in early January. Venezuelan authorities report that 626 detainees have been freed since December, although Foro Penal has confirmed roughly half that number of political prisoner releases during the same period. Opposition leaders and human rights groups have criticized the pace of the process, noting that many remain behind bars and demanding greater transparency. Families of detainees continue to press for full releases. France has said it does not favor military intervention in Iran, despite a deadly crackdown on protesters by Iranian authorities. Speaking on the political program Le Grand Jury, French Armed Forces Minister Alice Ruffo said France should support the Iranian people, but ruled out the use of military force as a preferred option. I think we must support the Iranian people in any way we can, Ruffo said, adding that it is up to Iranians themselves to bring change to their country's leadership. Ruffo also highlighted the difficulty of documenting alleged mass crimes committed by the Iranian authorities, citing widespread internet shutdowns that limit access to information. Iranian security forces have been accused by rights groups of killing thousands during protests, claims the government has denied. Greenland and Denmark have presented a united front in response to renewed interest by U.S. President Donald Trump in taking control of the Arctic island, temporarily setting aside long-standing tensions between them. Greenland, which was a Danish colony for more than 300 years, is now an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. While all major Greenlandic political parties support eventual independence, they disagree on how and when it should be achieved. U.S. pressure over Greenland's strategic importance prompted most of the island's political parties to form a coalition government in March last year. The only party to remain in opposition was Nalerak, which favors a rapid move toward independence. Greenland's leaders reiterated last week that they have no interest in U.S. control of the island. President Trump had earlier pushed strongly for a takeover before stepping back on Wednesday after announcing a framework agreement on Arctic security with NATO Secretary General. Analysts say U.S. pressure has helped bring Greenland and Denmark closer. Ulrik Pram Gad of the Danish Institute for International Studies noted that while Greenlanders still have grievances over Denmark's colonial past, European support has eased tensions within the relationship. At the height of the dispute, Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen said that if forced to choose between the United States and Denmark, Greenland would stand with Denmark. Spain has declined to join the Board of Peace initiative launched by U.S. President Donald Trump, saying the move is consistent with its commitment to multilateralism and the United Nations system. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced the decision late Thursday following an EU summit in Brussels. He said Spain appreciated the invitation but would not take part. The United States says the Board of Peace aims to help broker and monitor ceasefires, organize security arrangements, and coordinate post-war reconstruction. The initiative is linked to President Trump's Gaza peace plan. Several traditional U.S. allies were absent from the board's launch at the World Economic Forum in Davos, including Canada, the United Kingdom, and all European Union members except Hungary and Bulgaria. Sanchez said Spain's decision was based on its support for international law, the UN framework, and multilateral cooperation. He also noted that the Palestinian Authority was not included in the initiative. Israel has joined the board along with several Middle Eastern countries, including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates.